This is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like a steak.
Hey guys, welcome back to episode 7 of Unemployable. I am here with one of my best friends. We've known each other for 30 years at least.
Yeah,
This is Briana D'Andrea. So introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and all the good stuff.
Okay, first off, I just want to say I'm so excited to be here because I feel like I've watched your journey on LinkedIn kind of like blow up. So it's exciting to be one of your guests. Yeah, we've known each other forever, longer than many marriages have lasted for sure. And now like my kids are older than we met, which is like wild, both of our kids.
I know. So it's crazy.
It's just crazy to think. But so I'm a content creator and I'm also a fractional business operator with brands. I started in traditional media and sort of worked my way from analog to digital because I think we're one of the few lucky ones that got to see that evolution unfold.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, it's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun to actually see that evolution and not just go from like digital to digital, like analog to digital. So that's been really cool. I have had a very non-linear traditional like experience, so to speak. So I started off, like I said, in traditional media. And then once I started, we got married, had kids. I know you know my husband too. We're all good friends for many, many years. Just decided that like the hustle and working for the man, like just wasn't my vibe. And decided to go off on my own and take a chance. I mean, luckily, my husband had a stable job and allowed me to do that. But I came from this culture of like, I wanted to be a news anchor. That was what I went to school for. I studied journalism. I had a minor in marketing only because you had to, because for the majority of people that study that, you cannot only major in broadcasting because they pretty much think you won't make it.
Yeah, I remember that was my major when I first started at UF Telecom. And they were
Really?
like, the first class that I went to, the professor was like, you have to be okay never seeing your family for the first like 5 to 10 years of your career because you will not get a job on like Channel 7 in Miami when you
because we lived in a really crazy market. We still do. It's like one of the best markets in the world. But that's funny you say that because I remember raising my hand in class going like, do I have to have this like reporter voice? Because it's cringy.
Right.
And the teacher was like, well, yeah, like that's what they're looking for. And I immediately in that moment thought like, I'm not traditional. Like, I think it's stupid. Like, I think the voice is dumb. Like, why can't I just be myself, talk the way I want to talk? And if people want to hear it, great,
And back in the day, there was literally like one road. Like there was one road that you took to be a reporter. And now it's so different with the rise of social media. And, I feel like you embody that journey kind of perfectly because you started off as traditionally, like you said, and now I see you everywhere. You're all over my Instagram.
I don't get to see half the stuff I do. Just so you know, like they don't send me anything. So like when I'm working with a brand, I sign off the rights for the most part. And I'm learning now, for those of you that are doing UGC, you need to negotiate your whitelisting, which is like ads that, live in perpetuity. And if this is all Chinese, like we could talk more about it later. But the idea that like you're selling your soul and you're selling it forever, I don't get to see half of that stuff. So I'm glad you get to see it. You have to send it
like your Casper stuff is it's all over my Instagram. I see it all the time. It's kind of like if you're an actor, you should get paid for residuals. Like if your Casper ad's doing so well, you should get paid based on how many impressions it gets. But it's not like that, right?
It just depends on the brand. Like, for instance, with Casper, I did that shoot, I think it was last year. I think it was like 2024 or maybe, I don't know. It all blurs together. They paid me in a mattress. And they did give me maybe like a small stipend, but not enough where I know that like they're selling like these mattresses and whatever. I was happy to get one because we actually needed one for our guest room. We had been thinking about it. We were like, do we want to buy it? And then all of a sudden this person reached out to me and I was like, was this manifested? I'll take it. It's fine.
Right. That's how it works.
Yeah. So that worked out. But a lot of the stuff I don't get to see. And what's funny is like I'll see people and they'll be like, oh my God, how do you like this thing that you're selling? And I'm like, well, I'm not selling it. just representing the brand. I'm not making commissions off of it. So there's obviously two ways. Like you could be an influencer and make like a percentage of commission, or you could do, content creation and user generated content creation, which is what I do. And that is like, you pay me a fee and I will create something. So it's kind of, they do mesh that you don't even really see. So like, I'm not sharing that to my Instagram,
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that that was how it worked.
Yeah.
That you don't own that content anymore.
You sign your life away. So it is really interesting. Kind of my journey has been like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. I remember getting
Wasn't everybody's though?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I think also in like the AI world and like digital, not understanding contracts or not understanding of like when I started this, I was happy to get like a free shampoo because my journey. So I feel like we got sidetracked, but like I started in traditional media. I decided I was going to go off on my own. I freelanced for like local newspapers and like I did some marketing for like friends, on the side. And then I ended up working in, the business to business personal selling with Beauty Counter, like selling makeup. I created videos. People started seeing those videos and saying like, hey, can we send you a shampoo? Can we send you a blush? Can we send you a lip gloss? And I was like, yes, I was so excited like to be considered. And then I was like, wait a second, I don't want to get paid lipstick. Like I want cash, and then that light switch turned and I had started saying like people need to know about this because I think there are a lot of like young entrepreneurs, women mostly I think in this realm, but there are some men that like will sell their soul for like a discount on something.
Right.
Like you're better than that. You have the ability, if you're out there and you're showing your face and you're being consistent and you're working with brands, like there's no reason why they shouldn't pay you. They have the budget to do it. And unless you're asking for it, then why would they just offer you money? Like you have to put yourself out there to say like, hey, I want to work with you. This is my, my rate. I created a media kit and decided like enough. Like I'm going to do this as a job, like a career. So I started doing that. And then I created a course to help other people do that. And that I have yet to really like put the pedal to the metal on like.
Well, we can link that in the show notes, purchase her course. And I mean, I've seen her go from starting out to being super successful like she is now. And it's a great job also for a mom with kids. You work from home, you make your own hours, you make your own rates. And if you want to be in the media industry, it's a great way to start for sure.
Absolutely is. That was one thing. Like, so it's funny because like you say you're going to do all these things and then you go and you have kids and you're like, wait a second.
I know.
Like my whole life just like flipped upside down. And I had tried to get like babysitters to watch my kids. So I had this really crazy, unique opportunity and I was going to work on this segment. I was going to be on camera. I was making it happen and I didn't have to move to Arkansas. It was at a Palm Beach market. And, it was like, once I had my son, like nothing you could have offered me would have changed my mind about like, I want to be with him. I don't care, and I did hear from someone, this is obviously not like media related, but like your kids are young for only so long that like you have your whole life to work. And that really like hit me. And then on the other side of it, I had worked in radio. So I've done, I did radio, print. I worked for the Hard Rock. I worked for the Seminole Tribe. I worked for the Clear Channel Radio. So I've tried to try everything so I can understand like what exactly I want to do. It's like when your kids try different sports. And somebody told me something. They were like, if you're gonna stay home with your kids, always try to stay relevant. Try to learn the new trends. Try to be. So I think like, even though I had left media, I was like, I still want to keep that part of me because that is who I am. I didn't want to give up my whole existence because us as moms, as you know, you give up everything. You give up everything for your kids and then you're like a shell of yourself. So that was one thing I made a promise to myself was like, okay, how can I be around my kids, pick them up, drop them off, be at baseball, be at cheerleading, but also have a career and not burn out and drink enough water.
It's hard. It's funny you say that because someone gave me the same advice too. They were like, because I took a couple years off also.
Right.
And they were like, whatever you do, so there's this funny joke in the design world where it's like, so I started when it was like PS2, which is like Photoshop 2. Okay. And then I had Harper and it was like Photoshop 5, whatever. And they were like, don't stop at PS5 and then take 2 years off and then go back. Like just knowing PS5, like it's going to be like PS8. So you have to just like keep going, keep learning the new technology. And I remember Sebastian was maybe like, I don't know, 1 years old when this program called Sketch came out. And I remember like taking a course to be Sketch certified just to like stay relevant. And then there was Figma, and I took a course to get Figma certified just to stay relevant. And it's like you do all these things, you know, while still being a mom, while still trying to stay on top of your career. I think I got to a point where I had to take a step back and be like, what is it that yeah, because you don't know who you are at the end of all of this.
And not to mention, there's so much information out there. Like, you can get really clouded on, like, I was the same way. I was reading, like, all these, like, self-help books. How to Go for the No. That book did change my life.
How to Go for the No? What's that?
Go for the No. Do you know that book?
No. Is it about setting boundaries? Because I'm all about that.
No, but Boundaries is a different book, and that is a great book too. Like, I've read like every single one of those books. That Go for the No is more of like a sales book. So like that journey started when I joined Beautycounter, and I had to get over people's opinions of me, because at that point I was like, I don't care what you think of me. I'm a mom. I have to provide for my family. I want to contribute. I like nice things. You like nice things. I like going on vacation. I wasn't just going to like stay home and bake banana bread. Like, I wanted to do other things. So it was like
barefoot in the kitchen.
Yeah. Like, I know that's where my husband likes me, but let's be honest. Yeah. So anyway, I found this book through, like, when I joined Beautycounter, it was like the first time I had gone to a conference. I even brought Vera and my mom with me. And I remember thinking, like, this is amazing. Like, people collaborating, talking on stage, learning. Like, it wasn't even so much about the mission of Beautycounter that drew me in. It was like the idea that I could have my own business. I could have this financial freedom, and not only financial freedom, but time freedom. And when that happened, I was like, I will never go back. And I do have moments where I'm like, shoot, maybe I should. You know, I've gone on job interviews. I've tried the thing. But what's crazy is, like, it's like so traditional, and I'm so non-traditional. So like they want me in the office 40 hours a week, 9 to 5. I have to take a shuttle to get there. I have paid time off, only 2 weeks. And I'm like, no, like, especially if you want a content creator, like, we got to be out. We got to be in the mix. We have to be mingling, talking, networking, creating content. Like, sitting behind a desk does me nothing.
Right. I was just having this conversation with one of my friends. I had a job interview a couple weeks ago, and the interviewer was like, it's on site 9 to 6. And I was like, okay. And then she told me that half the team was in Miami and the other half of the team was in San Fran. And I was like, so you're remote? She's like, no, we're on site. I'm like, but half the team is in one place and half the team is in another place.
Right. So we're remotely working. We're getting on Zoom calls, and okay.
Make it make sense. I feel like it's this idea of controlling the workforce that all of a sudden is coming back in full force. Like, remote work works.
It does.
It works.
It does.
For our industry.
It does.
Because
it works. It does. It works for a lot of industries.
Yeah, for a lot of industries.
What happens is there are some people, it's like the kids in class that don't pay attention that ruin it for everybody else, right? The people that take advantage of it. But I think if there was a better rubric where it's like, okay, we're going to give you 6 months to prove us wrong, you know? And if in those 6 months, like, it's not working for either one of us, great. But like, I wasn't even afforded that opportunity. And I was like, you know what? That solidified that I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah.
In that sense, where it's like, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm building this brick by brick. And at this point, I'm not even putting myself, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn by any sense of the imagination, but it's just like a hard work does get recognized. So like, I don't even put my name in the hat anymore. I've just created these relationships where people are like, hey, we have this company, we have this brand, like, this is what they're offering. Like, can you do it?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm on job interviews every day.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like as it should. Once you find someone and also it's hard to do what we can do. Like, growing up in telecom, because we took it for so many years in middle school and high school, going from editing analog tapes, like VHS tape.
I know.
To now editing, like, I'm editing my podcast all the time.
It's lazy.
Yeah. Right. It's so easy.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's so funny because I used Riverside for my podcast, and for the first couple ones, I like exported just the raw video, put it into my editing tool, and was just like editing it. And then I looked, and Riverside has this thing called like AI editing where it fucking edit the whole thing's for you. It takes out the pauses, it takes out the gibberish. And I was like, holy shit.
So it's crazy. I used to write scripts for when I worked at the Hard Rock. I would sit and write scripts of like how I wanted it to look and what shots I would pick and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I wish there was a tool where I could just talk into the computer. Like, I wish I had created that because my boss was like, there is no such thing. I don't know what you think you're going to do. Like, and now obviously we have that. We're way beyond that.
Right.
It is wild that like, even now, like, are you on Sora AI?
Yeah. I know. People are obsessed with Sora.
For someone like me, if I can offer to a company the ability to give you, because there is something to be said about an authentic voice.
Right.
No doubt.
Right.
Like human touch. But if I can like 5x, 10x what I'm doing for the same thing, it is wild what you can do. It is wild what you could do. And I've been like playing around with it. It's scary. I feel like the world's going to be taken over by robots. We were having that conversation last night, Mike and I like can't see straight after that conversation. But like, it is crazy how far it has come and to see it from the beginning. You know what you need to find is a video of us in television production in high school.
Milk and cookies.
My God, that was middle school.
Oh, yeah, that was middle school. Holy shit.
Middle school.
I think Alana has it, actually.
I remember. Yeah, get Alana on the line. Tell her we need milk and cookies. That's crazy.
I should have her on my podcast.
Yeah.
JK. I don't think she'd do it. Hey, E, if you want to come on my podcast.
She might.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
What do you wish you told yourself 10 years ago that could be relevant today?
Don't sell yourself short and know your worth. I think like oftentimes people don't give themselves enough credit because it comes easy to you. You know, like I have this conversation all the time. Like if that's your superpower, that's not everyone's superpower. And people are going to value that. And so you need to learn to celebrate your wins and value that. I think I'm always just like, what's next? What's next? And I don't look back and I don't celebrate my wins. It's funny you asked me that question. I heard today, like, what is something like when you're 80, you're going to look back on your life and regret you didn't do and do that now? So that's something I've been really like thinking about.
What is it? Do you have one?
Probably to buy a property on Palm Beach Island. It's like a dream for me, you know, just be able. I mean, I did get a chance to speak to a bunch of women and inspire them on mindset and confidence through Beauty Counter. I would love to do that regularly. Just things like this light me up because I work by myself on an island. I know you do too. So it's like always great to just like be in a room full of inspiring people. So, you know, maybe something like that. Write a book would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. So what are 3 things you refuse to compromise on? Or 1 or 2, whatever comes to mind.
Talk about boundaries. In business, I could go on about personal stuff, but let's separate. Compromise, you know, I will not compromise my integrity. Like I will not compromise, again, my worth. Like I won't compromise on my price. Like I've had people reach out and be like, well, we want you to produce 10 videos for $50. And I'm like, eat shit. Not happening. Like I have to set up, I have to do you know what it's like to do my hair, my makeup. Yeah. Like I will not do that. But I appreciate you and commend you if you can find the next person to do that. So that's something I definitely don't compromise on. I don't compromise on like the quality of work I put out. I feel like not that you need to be perfect. I try not to strive for perfection. I just try to strive for authenticity in everything that I do professionally. So even if it's like an email, like I try to be my most authentic self to say like, hey, I can appreciate that you want to whitelist this ad, but for me, that doesn't really make sense. Like, here's what makes sense. So, just
what
like
does whitelist mean?
So whitelist is like where, for instance, where you saw that the Nectar ad, they're able to use my handle, right? It'll say Briana D'Andrea on their ads as if I shared it on my social media. If you don't know me and you don't follow me, but you see me, you're like, oh, wait a minute. So it is great because it does create some publicity for myself, right? Like people are like, oh, who's she? Like, let's go see what she does.
Right.
Same time, it's also great for them because it's like, who's this authentic person that is talking about this awesome mattress? So whitelisting just comes off as more authentic. It is paid. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to say anything I don't feel. I do think that the mattress is great. I love that it has, you know, all the things. This is an ad for them, but that's the idea. And so it goes in 30, 60, 90 days is whitelisting. And it can go anywhere for up to a year. Like right now I'm working, my goal, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of myself, but my goal is to work much closer with brands that like I enjoy working with on a more kind of a retainer basis.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say like fractional work. Working on things that are like big bucket projects for more money and less time on negotiations, because that really just takes up a bunch of time.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I have actually 2 retainer clients that I just signed last year.
Yeah.
It's like super small stuff, nothing crazy.
But do you find that it's like a little better for you so that you're not having to be like, well, what's next? Who am I working with next? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer retainer over project based because pricing out projects for me anyway, it's can get like super tedious, right? And once you're on a retainer, you just kind of flow faster and you don't have to really think about how much time is this going to take me to do XYZ. And on a retainer, it's just kind of built in. They know what they can
like
ask
the
you
difference
for.
between like salary and hourly. It's like,
yeah, kind of
salary basis, and I'll create all this stuff, pay me on an hourly, and like you'll get like a one-off project for a couple hours. Yeah.
Right.
But it's definitely interesting like how many jobs like they want done. And I don't think many people are like, hey, let's do this on a retainer. I can't be the first person to think of this, but who knows?
So you have a blog called Mom Girl Blog.
Yes. I feel like I started blogging before, like when Vera was like a baby. I just moved to Orlando. I did not want to be there, but I wanted an outlet. And I felt like I'm going to just try this blogging thing. It's very like, it's more so like, I don't know, a journal of like the things I do, but it has turned into a few brand partnerships. I will say, I feel like blogging was dead. Then it's like, is it coming back?
Yeah, I know. I feel
I don't know. It's
kind of
like the 90s coming back, you know, like
yeah. I
has
feel a resurgence of like the written word lately.
Yeah.
Especially with the way like people have been responding to I started a Substack.
I did too, but I'm not good at keeping up with it because I'm like, how many things? Like if I pick that up, what am I putting down?
Right.
So what's your Substack on? Just like the
So it's called Unemployable and it's just about like the job market.
Right.
Just being like super open and candid and you know, I don't know. I'm at a fine line right now about what I want to talk about and what I'm legally allowed to talk about because I have all these interviews that I went through last year and I'm finally at a place where I'm kind of like dissecting them in my head and I want to talk about them. Like I want to talk about the companies. I want to talk about the people who interviewed me, but I don't know if I'm allowed legally to do that. And I didn't sign anything in the interviews, so I don't think it would be a problem. But also, is it slander against the companies I interviewed for if I talk about them in a negative way?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't touch that. Like, I mean, if I were you, it would be fine to talk on the topic, but I would not talk about the company specifically because you don't want them to come after you and you're not protected. Right. Although there is like freedom of speech, there is slander that protects the freedom of, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
To me, also, you just want to keep your dignity intact. Like, you don't want to come off as like
that.
You want them to look at you and be like, oh, we should have hired that girl because look at her now, or like, look at what she's doing. You know, like I've had a few instances where people have reached out to me to say like, hey, we want you for this. I go through the interview process. I'm so excited about it. I'm thinking this is such like a good, like, not like going into office, but even just like a gig. And same ideas of things that you've said where you feel like ghosted or this, that, or the other. And I'm just like, you know what? Wasn't for me. As hard as that like feels and as deeply annoying it is that I spent the time. I'm like, well, it wasn't for me because then I'll look back and be like you say, 10 years from now, I'll look back and be like, well, thank God I didn't do that gig because then I couldn't have done it or like whatever, So, or even if you think about it, like I think about like homes we wanted to purchase and didn't, or like places we would have gone and didn't, like, thank God, because I like my house now, like that kind of thing. Just kind of like knowing that I heard this saying, this woman I love, her name is Shauna Von Bogart. I don't know if you know her, but she's really good at like helping you find like your core and who you are. And she said a while ago, like all moves are the right moves. And like, I literally have to repeat that to myself. Like, all moves are the right moves. It's like
that.
it sounds cliche. It sounds stupid. But I also think it's a little grounding where it's like,
yeah. No, I think I like it.
I try to stand in my truth. Like,
Right.
it's funny. One time some guy was like, hey, because sometimes I'm on these like casting boards and, people they're either like coming at you and they have a good thing, or they're coming at you and they want to like hook, line, and sink you, or like make you do like a sales. So it's funny. Like I had this thing and the guy got me on the call and I was like, I just want to start right out of the gate. Like, is this a sales gig?
Yeah.
If it is, I'm not into it. And he was like, oh, no, it's not. It's something completely different. And it ended up being like something that was legit. It ended up being not for me, not my time, whatever it is. But I think the best thing that you can do in those instances is like to stand in your truth. Like, this is what I'm not willing to negotiate on. This is what I am willing to do. Kind of even writing down your principles. Like, what are your principles? I know for me, like my principles are, I got to pick up my kid this afternoon.
Right.
So if you want to work with me, you can work with me between the hours. And I work with a lot of people on the West Coast in California. And they want to do remote directed shoots, which are my least favorite thing to do. Which is like someone like you is on the other end and telling me, okay, set up your phone this way, set up your camera. I've broken my phone a dozen times doing it. I'm like, can I just do this? I'm a professional. Like, I can do this. I'll say to them, like, I'm happy to work with you. I can work with you between the hours of 9 a.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern. I need a break in between, and then I can pick back up. And if that doesn't work for you, I'm good with it. But I think like standing in your truth and being like, you know what? What did this interview that I didn't otherwise get teach me? It taught me that like I'm not putting up with I offer experience, I offer tenure, I offer, creativity. Those are all that like you have to be your own hype man, because otherwise you get eaten alive.
I know. I'm so bad at being my own hype man. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at
be better at it. Go
self-promotion.
for the no. Go for the like. You have to, and the other thing too, it's like, I may live in this sense of like a delusional, I get this, I think, from like my family, but like, I'll be delusionally thinking like I am better than this, because otherwise, what's the alternative?
Yeah, I kind of love that. I feel like I've instilled that into Harper, because Harper thinks she's like the shit, and like,
and she
nobody
is
can
the
touch her.
shit, and she deserves to be the shit. And like, I think somebody, I don't know, remember you and I were talking about somebody, we don't have to bring up their names, but they're like, she thinks she's the shit. I am the shit. Because if I don't think I'm the shit,
who else is gonna think you're the shit? Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody should feel that way. And like, that's what I try to instill. Like, when I'm out there and I'm on social media, I'm not out there to like be like, I'm the shit. I'm out there to be like, you should think you're the shit too. Experiences and that knowledge. Like, if you're not thinking that way, then like, why would John from Google think that you were great?
Right.
Like,
yeah. What do you bring that no one else can bring? Because if you don't think that way about yourself, nobody else is going to think that way about you.
Right. If they're asking you questions and you're like, well, and you're timid and I don't know. And, then like, if you're not confident in yourself, how can they be confident in you? You know?
Yeah.
What I mean? So even if you're like, the saying like fake it till you make it, I'm not saying be fake, but I'll tell you if I can't deliver on like some promise that you need. Like if I'm not doing the job, I'll say, hey, listen, like not beyond my capabilities, not for me, can't do it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think
there's a difference between being confident and then faking it.
Ego. Like I heard this yesterday. Like there's a difference between like you're letting your ego lead and you're like not insanely confident, but just like you believe so much in yourself that you become that confidence, right? Like you have the belief. Like I think about it with my daughter. They throw her up in the air as a cheerleader. She does these ridiculous things. If she didn't have the confidence in herself to be able to do those things, she'd never be able to do it. It's like mind over matter. So when she's doing like all of the like tumble passes and cheerleading and everything, I'm like, she is on another level of crazy, but like you have to be,
right?
So
yeah, you just have to think. And I feel like it's such a childlike mentality too, to just like think everything's going to be okay, which I feel like I always try and bring that ideology like back in, to not like wait for the other shoe to drop or think about all the things that could go wrong. What about if all the things go right? And it's just like this confidence that I try and keep building in myself. Last year really taught me that. Last year was like super hard. Was it hard for you?
I had a really hard first part of the year. I suffered a lot of loss. I lost 3 really close people to me, and I had a health situation that was like really scary. So the beginning of the year was like shit, complete shit. It started out of the gate. And then like once that all kind of happened, I was like, okay, I'm like, and I think you should give yourself the chance to like feel the feels. It's important to do that. Like, really, like sit into it. How's this making me feel? What am I doing? Get outside, get fresh air, get some water, try to take care of your body, like all the things. Take a break when you know, like you need to have that break. And then after that, like dust yourself off, get back on the horse. Like, what are we doing? So the second part of the year was amazing. We had my son's bar mitzvah, which was like the best thing ever. And just like seeing him do that was so incredible. And I think there was also a shift in like my way of thinking and businesses that like I wanted to partner with. I had some of these like really annoying, nagging clients that were like very nitpicky. And I was like, I'm not like, I am who I am and you'll work with me because that's who I am, or you're not going to. Like, if you're looking for something else, like, bye.
Right.
So I kind of was like, I got better at saying, instead of going for the no, I got better at saying no.
And setting your boundaries.
Yes.
That's a big boundary setting.
Yeah. Cause I had to trust that, like, if I was saying no to this, I was losing out on an opportunity and money. But what was I saying yes to? What was I opening the door for? I didn't know. And that's obviously right. Like, the fear of the unknown is always so scary. But I was able to turn it into something else. And then a new client came along, and then this other thing came about. And I was like, oh, great. So because I said no to this, I was able to say yes to this. So last year was kind of like an ebb and flow. Like, it was start off so low and then it went up high. And I'm hoping that like into the new year, it's better. But do you feel like your year got better? It was just it all flat.
I don't know. So the first year, the start of the year was great. And then in the middle of the year, when my contract ended in April and I started looking for a new job, I didn't know how bad tech was doing at that time
because you were working on something else and you were like oblivious.
Yeah, I had gone from like contract to contract, and then I was supposed to go from my last contract. I had 2 interviews in April of last year. Both jobs I got. And then 2 weeks into me getting it, one of them I had like already drug tested for and like did a background check, downloaded all the assets. Both jobs were pulled due to budget cuts. So like the first one was pulled, and the second one is the one I drug tested for, did all that stuff. Then that was pulled because of budget cuts. And I was just kind of like, what? Like, that's never happened to me before. And then that's when I started interviewing, and I was like, holy shit. And I met with these people that were just, they shouldn't have been where they were. Like, I don't know what changed, because I hadn't interviewed in years. Like, it had been years. I had always gone from referrals. So if I wanted to leave a previous job, someone referred me to another job. It wasn't really like an interview. It was like a meet.
Know a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like 7 rounds of interviews. And then on the 7th round,
7 rounds to me is insane. I've done maybe like 3. And at that point, I'm like, just, do you want me or not? I got shit to do.
Right. I know. So on the 7th round, it was for a pharmaceutical company. I meet with the VP of creative, and he's like, you don't have pharmaceutical experience. And I was like, not directly, but I do have healthcare experience. And he's like, how did you get to me?
Who says that though? That's so funny.
I know. It was like really rude. And he's like, your work is
like,
great.
You tell me.
Yeah, I know. Like, your work is great. You seem really cool, but like, you need pharmaceutical experience to work here. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like,
it's funny because like this wasn't last year. It's sometimes the years all jumble together, but maybe it was the year prior. Somebody told me this recently too. Do you ever listen to Cody Sanchez? She's really great. She's like an entrepreneurial genius. I listen to all these crazy like self-help people. Marie Forleo.
Like all these people down.
Marie Forleo is another one. She's the one that's like, everything is figure outable. But
Wait, who's that one? Everything's figure outable? I say that.
Marie Forleo. She's great.
I say we have to be figure outers, because if you're not, who's gonna?
Right. So Cody Sanchez said something like, you should name your years so you remember the year. Like, you know, if last year you was like, you know, I don't know, all about learning yourself, or you felt like it was toxic workplace, like just name them. I think that would help. But anyway, I got approached 2 years ago for this position working in traditional news. And I was like, this is it. I'm going back, you guys. Like, I'm so excited. I was going to do it. I was like, you know, I said to myself, maybe it was just a season. My kids are in school now. Like, maybe it's time for me to go back and like really do like what I started at, just thinking like I hyped myself up, right? Like, I'm hyping myself up to go to this thing. I go, it goes great. And they're like, so we need you to work. It was like ridiculous. I mean, this is news, right? And I don't know why I thought anything different, but we need you to work like these ridiculous hours and ridiculously low pay. And I was like, no, God, no, I'm not doing it. So I said no. And then I was offered to be a recruiter to find people jobs for this said company. And I was like, that could be interesting because now I'll get to really understand those recruiters and like what they do and what they're looking for and like learn, right? Again, like learning all the aspects of all the things. Like I literally try to do that to really like empathize and understand like where the producer's coming from, where the editor's coming from, where the reporter's coming from, the writer, like all the things that go into creating these like art pieces that we do. So I was like, screw it, I'll do it. I'm going to try this, whatever. So I was recruiting. I mean, it probably lasted like a month. And I remember having these conversations with some of these candidates. And what you do is you do filter out. Like, so there's a filter. I'm giving you like a behind the scenes of what's going on.
I've seen the filters. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a filter. And what sucks is people like you or like me are unable to really showcase what they're capable of in the creative space. If you're working like as an executive and you're like, here's my XYZ experience, fine. But like, how am I supposed to show you that I worked on a campaign with DoorDash?
Right.
Like really like show you that like I was a mom on the go working for DoorDash and like, you know, showing you like my hustle and bustle, like my personality, which is what you want when you're looking for these creatives to share your business.
Right.
Or even like, you know, Il Maquillage, like I'm showing how to work this foundation. If you can't see a video of me doing that and it's simply through a filter on LinkedIn, how the heck can, you know what I mean? So anyway, you go through the filter, you find these people, you send them cold messages, you schedule a phone call. That's the first process. And to be honest, I knew immediately like this wasn't the job for me. But I think what I learned is that the people on the other end, and I'm not saying this is true to everyone that's applying, you gotta seem less desperate. Like you could smell the desperation on these poor people that were like, please hire me, I need a job. I can do anything, you know, like, and it goes back to like knowing your worth, having the confidence to see who you truly are, being that unicorn and showing the person on the other end, like why it would be a privilege for them to have you work for them.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that job taught me a lot about that. Like when I'm going up to bat and I'm having these conversations, like I want someone to call me and be like, we loved your energy and we want to work with you because we can't get enough of it. Not like we feel bad for you and you look pathetic, but we'll offer you the job anyway. Like,
yeah, no, I get that. It's so true. I love this conversation because I feel like it's a lot of what I write about and what I talk about is just being your authentic self because there's nobody else like you.
And that will turn people away.
Yeah,
It will bring in the people that are meant to be there. And sometimes I think the people that get turned away are afraid to deal with what they're dealing with on the inside. Like it's a self-exploration and self-protection in that, you know?
And it's just like the illusion of control. As a strong female, I feel like we seem untamable. And I think that in a lot of the instances I've been in, it's been about, you know, will she sit there and take direction and do what we tell her to do? Or will she be not combative, but question things? And a lot of people don't like to be questioned.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're in a place now too where like the whole applying for a job to seek validation is below you. Like, did you ever think of it in that way? Like you're you're above that. You're above trying to prove on level 7 round interview why you deserve this job. Like at some point you've got to ask yourself, am I selling myself out?
Right.
Like, you know, like I deserve better than this. And like, yeah, maybe I am combative, but guess what? Like I probably will do a better job than like the kid that just got out of college because I have all the experience. But if you don't want that challenge and you don't want that kickback and you just want someone that's going to do what you said because you feel like you want to control the narrative, that's a you call, you know? Right. I feel like that's probably why I didn't get a recent position. I have changed my mindset very strongly and like I'm nobody's minion. Like again, like it started with like, yeah, you want to send me a bottle of lip gloss. And then it turned into, now I'm going to charge. And now it turns into, well, let's create, more retainer based projects. Now it's, I want stake in the game. If you want me to be your employee, I want a percentage of that. I want a percentage of that. And I don't think like to hear that, they don't want to, but it's like, but you want me to help you grow your business, right?
Right. I mean, it's only fair.
Right. Right.
Should be compensated.
Correct. But like you said, budget cuts, and sometimes it's almost like that saying, like, you get what you pay for. People want it all and they don't want to pay for it. It's
right.
Like, well, you can
do it yourself then.
Right. And again, it's not all about money. It should be about happiness too. Like, what makes you happy? What fills you up? Like, what is the work that you're going to be doing? And maybe that's a question, like when people are going on these interviews that you're talking to, maybe that's a question they need to ask themselves. Like, would they really be genuinely excited working for, I don't know, Ford Motor Company, but they hate getting gas and they'd rather a Tesla? Then go apply to Tesla. Like, you're just doing it.
I feel like there's such a disconnect happening right now between, finding your joy and paying for food.
Right.
Because it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get as bad as 2007, 2008. I don't know yet how this year is going to go, but I've definitely seen a lot of people in that same boat where it's like,
you have to sell yourself out to put food on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it.
We've all done it.
Human thing. You're like, dude, I gotta figure this out. They're offering me this position. Like, I'm just gonna take it. But I do think sometimes like the truth comes to light, at some point you decide like, okay, clearly I shouldn't have taken this in the first place, or it wasn't meant for me. And I can't fake it. I can't put on this mask anymore. That's hard. That's another deep self-exploration.
Right. We need what book explores this journey?
Like explores like who you are at your core.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, I feel like that's kind of where I landed at the end of last year. What do I want to bring to the table? Because it was always like I worked at these jobs where I was kind of told what I can bring to the table. And now I'm kind of just like bringing my own thing and doing what I feel is right.
Right.
And it's great, but I also have not monetized it yet.
Right.
So like that's an issue. So I feel like a lot of people are kind of like stuck in this in between. Like that's where I feel right now. I don't feel necessarily stuck. I left stuck in 2025, but there's this in between like gray area.
What's next?
Yeah.
I think what helped me was I did this really interesting. Have you heard of a mandala? So I did a mandala.
Explain to everyone what it is.
Okay. So a mandala is it sounds like, I don't know, witchcrafty, but it's kind of like a dream catcher idea. And you put all of your ideas into this mandala. And as you're kind of shedding what suits you or doesn't suit you, you kind of rank all these ideas and you can use like rocks, you can use flowers. It's been a while since I've done it. Shauna von Bogart, the woman I was telling you about, she led a workshop on this. And at that point, I was like, okay, it's media for me. Because back then I was like selling makeup. I was doing this. I was doing that. And I was like, what is it that like I want to do? And I knew it was like media because that was like where I started and I loved it. And so that's how the UGC thing came into play. But like what it does is it helps you get like insanely focused on what it is that you want to do without being distracted by anything else, because there will be distractions no matter where you look. And like you said, like saying no and having boundaries on things that do not contribute to that particular goal, right? So if your goal is like, I want to replace my income that I was making when I was working with X job and I want time freedom. Okay, what does that look like? What am I offering? What are the services that I'm providing? How can I maximize that? How can I offer it up to brands? Which brands? What's my pitch? What's my kit look like? And then kind of breaking them down into little mini micro pieces of steps and building them brick by brick. It's not easy.
Right.
Nothing is easy.
Yeah, nothing is easy.
Having is easy. It's like choose what you like. Remember, like, choose your hard. What hard do you want? Like, choose your hard. Do you want to be overweight or do you want to work out? Choose your hard. Do you want to eat like shit or do you want to feel like shit? Or do you want to eat right? Or, like obviously nothing's going to be perfection. So the mandala really is a cool exercise. I encourage everyone to kind of like look it up.
That's cool. Maybe you can come on again and we can do one together.
Mandala workshop.
Yeah.
If I'm licensed.
You need a license for it?
No, you don't. You don't need one. I remember when we went to Asheville, they were offering one. I was like, around the time when I was doing it, and I was like, is this a sign?
Yeah, that's weird.
And Mike's like, how many mandala workshops do you need?
Fucking husbands.
Cost anything? I'm like, what? I guess you're right. He's like, stop getting sidetracked. I'm like, all right.
For those of you who don't know, our husbands are also best friends, and we all went to high school together and have known each other forever.
Well, you and I went to elementary, middle, and high school. And then, yeah.
Female friends, I feel like, are sometimes more important than husbands in a way.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that like every 22 days you need a girls' night for your like mental health. I don't know.
Really?
Like saying that, but I was like, I'm overdue, man.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I
and I think that's why like I was doing Palm Beach bloggers for a while. I felt like it was nice to get out there and like network with other people. But then it started to also feel like it was very business oriented, which I wasn't like I needed a break also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us on episode 7. I think that I personally got so much from this. Me and Bri, we've been friends for over 30 years. We obviously talk a lot, but it's different, being a guest, I think.
Yeah, no, I
we went through a lot.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. I hope that what I gave today will inspire people to, number one, like not feel like they need to fit into a box, and also to know that they're worth it, that they are worthy of whatever it is that they want to do with their lives. Like we only have one life to live. Like, what do you want to do with it? And if it's time freedom, if it's, travel, if it's being with your family more, like 2026 should be your year to try and like live toward those goals. And I hope that this inspired other people to think a little bit more broadly about that.
Yeah. Your worth is not scaled by algorithms, guys. It is defined by what only you can bring to the table.
Amen, sister friend.
So decide what that is and find your chosen sisters and be great and kind. All right, guys.
Thank you so much. I love you, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak on your platform. And I hope I did you proud.
All right, you did. Love you. See you later.
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.